The air in the central highlands of Vietnam is a thick, wet blanket. It clings to the skin, heavy with the smell of rain, rotting leaves, and fear. On the night of January 15th, 1969, that air crackles with an unseen electricity. A young man, Private First Class Garfield Langhorn, squints into the oppressive darkness from his foxhole. His hands, steady and sure, rest on the cold steel of an M60 machine gun. The scratched olive-drab paint of his helmet sits low over his eyes, channeling trickles of sweat down his temples. Around him, the jungle is a solid wall of black, a place of whispering ghosts and sudden death. This is Pleiku province, a contested slice of earth where the line between friend and foe is drawn in mud and blood. Langhorn is a communications specialist, a radio telephone operator by trade. But tonight, he is something else. He has volunteered to help defend a critical position, a lonely outpost watching over the wounded men of his unit, Company C, 7th Cavalry. The air is too still. The insects have gone silent. Every soldier here feels a knot tightening in his gut. They know something is coming from the blackness. A single, eerie green flare bursts high above the tree-line, casting the world in a sickly, alien glow. It illuminates a nightmare. Shadowy figures are swarming from the jungle, a human wave surging towards their perimeter wire. The night erupts in a deafening symphony of violence. Mortar rounds scream down from the sky, carving craters out of the red earth. The rhythmic chatter of AK-47s is answered by the furious roar of American M16s. Tracers, red and green, stitch fiery lines across the battlefield, connecting unseen shooters with their desperate targets. From his position, PFC Langhorn unleashes his M60. The heavy machine gun bucks against his shoulder, a beast of his own creation spitting fire into the assault. Hot brass casings spin and dance in the air, catching the light of the muzzle flash like angry fireflies. He traverses the gun back and forth, a grim expression of concentration etched onto his face. His jaw is set, his eyes narrowed against the smoke and chaos. He is the anchor point, the linchpin of this small, desperate defense. He sees the enemy fighters, relentless and determined, cutting through the wire, crawling over their own dead to close the distance. The shouts of men are torn apart by the concussion of grenades. Dirt and shrapnel fill the air. A rocket-propelled grenade slams into a nearby bunker, showering the area in splintered sandbags and a plume of black smoke. The enemy is too close, too many. They pour through the breach in a line, like a river breaking a dam. The structured defense dissolves into a series of frantic, isolated fights for survival. A soldier a few feet from Langhorn crumples to the ground, his rifle clattering beside him. The perimeter has been broken. The position is being overrun. The M60 is now a liability, too slow to swing in the close-quarters madness. Langhorn shoves the heavy weapon aside. He grabs his M16 rifle, its plastic stock feeling impossibly light in his hands. An enemy soldier leaps into the trench, bayonet fixed, his face a mask of fury in the strobing light of the battle. There is no time to aim, only to react. Langhorn parries the thrust with his rifle barrel, the screech of steel on steel, lost in the din. He fights with the ferocity of a cornered animal, using his weapon as a club, a spear, a shield. He fires a short, controlled burst, and the enemy soldier falls. Another appears, and then another. It is a whirlwind of hand-to-hand combat, a brutal, primitive dance of survival. Langhorn moves through the chaos with a terrifying purpose. His uniform is slick with sweat and mud. A cut opens up over his eye, and blood mixes with the grime on his face. He doesn't feel it. All that exists is the next threat, the next target. He clears his small section of the trench, the bodies of multiple enemy fighters testament to his desperate, violent stand. He reloads his rifle, his hands moving with an automatic, practiced grace that defies the terror of the moment. The immediate threat is gone, but the battle rages on. The air is thick with the cries of the wounded. A short distance away, he sees them. Several of his comrades, casualties from the initial mortar barrage, lie exposed in a shallow crater. They are helpless, trapped by the unrelenting enemy fire. A medic tries to crawl towards them. The storm of bullets kicks up. The dirt around him, forcing him back behind cover. The wounded are alone, seconds from being killed or captured. Without a thought for his own safety, Langhorn acts. He stands, making himself the tallest target on this patch of hell. He lays down a covering fire, his M16 barking defiance into the night. Bullets snap past his head, tearing through the air where he stands. He ignores them. His focus is absolute. He shouts over the noise, his voice raw, calling to the other soldiers, directing them to the wounded. He moves towards the crater, firing as he goes, a one-man rescue operation. He reaches the first man, grabs the webbing of his gear, and begins to drag him back towards the relative safety of the main trench. The soldier is heavy, an anchor of dead weight. Langhorn's muscles scream in protest. His lungs burn, but he does not stop. He pulls the man behind a shattered tree stump, then goes back. Again, he exposes himself to the enemy firestorm. He reaches a second wounded soldier, his face pale with shock and pain. Langhorn offers a quick, reassuring glance, a silent promise in the middle of the inferno. He is a shield, a guardian, his rifle a tool to keep death at bay while he works. He is pulling this second man to cover when he hears it. A soft, metallic thud on the packed earth nearby. He glances down. There, lying between him and the men he is trying to save, is a grenade. A Chinese chikum type, its smooth, deadly shape unmistakable in the flickering light. There is no time. No time to run, no time to throw it back. There is only a single horrifying, split-second calculation. He sees the faces of the wounded men behind him. He sees the grenade, its fuse burning down an impossibly short lifetime. In that frozen moment, Private First Class Garfield Langhorn makes a choice. He releases the wounded soldier. He turns his body toward the grenade. He dives forward, a blur of green fatigues and sheer will. He lands on the cracked earth, his arms outstretched, pulling the small, explosive device under his own chest. His helmet scrapes the ground as he curls his body around the weapon, a final, desperate act of protection. He is a living shield, offering his flesh and bone to smother the blast. For a fraction of a second, there's only the feeling of the cold metal against his body and the faces of the men he is about to save. The world disappears in a muffled, violent concussion. The ground shudders. His body absorbs the entirety of the blast, the shrapnel, the killing force. The smoke clears to reveal a devastating silence in that one small spot. The wounded soldiers are alive, battered and dazed, but shielded from the explosion. Where PFC Garfield Langhorn lay, there's only a terrible, sacred emptiness. He had single-handedly fought off the enemy, charged into a hail of gunfire to rescue his comrades, and in his final moment, chose to embrace certain death so that they might live. For this extraordinary act of courage, for his conspicuous gallantry at the cost of his own life, Private First Class Garfield M. Langhorn was posthumously awarded the Medal of Honor, the United States' highest decoration for valor. His sacrifice on that bloody night in Pleiku province stands as a testament to the profoundest depths of human bravery, a story written in fire and courage, never to be forgotten. Tell me your favorite war story I should talk about next. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video.